Good day, my baby viewers out there. I am Folahan Oyelekun. Today I'm discussing second class citizen written by Buchi Emejita, chapter 9, which is titled Learning the Rules. In chapter 8, we discuss the pregnancy of Ada and how she is delivered of the baby through operation. In this chapter, we are going to read about her experience in the hospital and her feelings also. Let's go. Ada opens her eyes and finds herself in the hospital ward with other patients. She has a drip passed to her body and a rubber tube through her nose to the back of her mouth. This makes it difficult for her to move or talk. Two nurses come in and place a bottle of blood on standby and walk out. Ada will never forget the woman in the ward that resembles her mother. The woman got married 17 years ago without an issue. Sarah, Abraham's wife in the Bible, gets pregnant and gives birth to a son. She is so excited that she shows the baby boy around in the ward. Ada is unable to respond to this annoying show-off from the women. 4 days later, when the tube was removed from Ada, she now understands why the woman was so excited. She has been waiting on the Lord for 17 years. And now compares herself with the woman that if she's in the woman's shoes, that is, Ada is trying to compare herself with the woman, she might have died of the pressure of another wife brought by Francis. She recalls the response of her in-laws when she gave birth to Titi that despised her for having a daughter. Ada now looks at the woman with different eyes. There is another woman in the world whose pregnancy is overdue for weeks. She talks to Ada all the time. Her situation is complicated because the surgeons and the doctor do not know whether she should be operated on or not. The woman has a handsome, caring husband. Ada is bestowed different names in the world by the virtue of the baby she delivered. She is called such names as Caesar by the women in the world and calls presentation by the young doctors. The nurses call her the mother of Muhammad Ali because her baby is loud-mouthed and troublesome. Bubu will be awake disturbing while other babies are sleeping. Why he will be sleeping while other babies are awake crying? Bubu is the new baby boy that Ada has just been delivered of through operation. Ada is now free to talk after the tube is removed on the 3rd day. She now asks the women with overdue pregnancy in number 11 in the world different questions. She asks her how she married a handsome man like that, how she married a man old enough to be her father. She also wonders how she is sure with present and highly respected in the world. The woman responds by narrating how she married the man after the wife died, leaving behind 2 sons. She was the man's secretary then. She also tells Ada that she was adopted by some people because she never knew her parents. She tells her that the adoptive parents were very good to her. She felt as if they were her biological parents. She then promised herself to make a happy home for herself, where she would be loved and free to love. They are interrupted by the arrival of the woman's husband and the surgeon with his team that has come to observe Ada. This interruption by the doctor distracts Ada from watching how the man usually shows love to her husband. That is, she's unable to watch how the man usually shows love to her wife. That's what I want to put there. Let me correct that. How she shows love to her wife. When the doctor exposes her to the student doctors, she bursts into tears. The doctor, seeing this, concludes that it is normal after delivery, not knowing that Ada is having the different thoughts in her mind. Let's see what Ada is thinking in her mind. That's different from what the doctors are thinking of. She's shedding tears because of her condition, compared to the sleek woman and the woman that had delayed for 17 years. These women are shown love by their husbands Ada continues crying uncontrollably that the surgeon even pacifies her to be calm, and they all leave her. It is time for visiting. Ada, who is by the door, is able to see anxious visitors clutching bundles of flowers and gifts awaiting the order from the big sister for them to enter. Most of the mothers have also put on fine dresses. It is only Ada's table that does not have flowers and cards in the world. Francis, that can buy it for her, does not count it necessary because he's not used to it. The Greek woman in number 8, like others in the world, put on a fine night dress. Put on a fine night dress. Okay, this makes Ada worry about the hospital night dress she put on, which is like a men's shirt. She now decides to tell Francis to buy one for her from Marks and Spencer, like that of the Greek woman. It's like Ada is the only person that is different in the world now. Still putting on the word the clothes she's given in the world. That's hospital night dress. She submits that she deserves a present from Francis for all she has given to him and suffered. Francis has never bought any present for her. She wishes to show it around the world for others to see. They start rush in with their flowers and gifts when the gong sounds. Francis does not used to come early, so Ada only has to watch the scenario. Even when Francis is around, he doesn't show much care for Ada. After this, a nurse comes in and goes straight to Ada and tells her in a low and husky voice to tell her husband to bring her night dress for her because she's not supposed to put on the hospital night dress after her baby is born. She smiles at Ada and leaves. So the nurse tells her that she should tell her husband to bring her night dress for her. That is supposed to have changed from the hospital's night dress. Let's continue. Ada thinks of the embarrassment of the young nurse in the open world. She then says that it is now compulsory for Francis to buy the night dress for her and that it is no longer a present because it has become an order. The thought in Ada's mind is that everybody in the world is discussing her and her condition. Ada then dives into the sheets and covers herself up, believing they will not see her. Francis on arrival wonders why Ada covers herself under the cloth. Ada tells him that she's not sleeping, and Francis smiles and delivers good news for her. He hands her a letter from her boss at the library. The woman wishes her well in the letter, and the good news is that she's going to be paid some amount of money, and she has been bought a red woolen cardigan. Ada comments that her colleagues in the library are good people and that she owes them appreciation letter. Ada's plan on the money is to purchase the night dress her husband is supposed to buy for her from the money. The selfishness tendency in Francis is reflected when he plans to pay for his course, which is less than £40 from the money. You see how selfish Francis is always. He's already planning on the money to pay to be used to pay for his own course. Let's continue. Ada is dumbfounded when she hears this from Francis. Ada just asks him about the children and answers that they are fine and that they didn't miss her. She asks him again who would have taken care of the children if she had died in delivery, since Francis after what is going to become in the United Kingdom. She advises him that the children need his care now and breaks down crying. Francis tries to cut Ada short by telling her that his mother brought them all up and so she shouldn't worry about looking after the children. Ada is enraged by this response and she tells him to either go out of the world or stop talking, or else she will throw the milk jug at him and vows to leave him one day. She says that she does not bring her children into the world to be brought up by an illiterate. They are brought to the UK to save them from the clutches of Francis' family. She continues that the children will grow up to be caring to the people and be civilized. She says they will not get married because of material gains, but because of a good home. Ada continues crying again when she remembers home. She says she wouldn't have found herself in this mess had it been she had her home. This led her to early marriage, coupled with the death of her father. She is now in a foreign country with her children as her friends. She then consoles herself that she will transfer the love to her children to create a conducive home for herself as none of her relatives is around. She then stops crying and smiles at Francis, thanking, thanking God for giving her Francis, whom God uses to give her the children. Ada smiles again and manages to tell Francis that the hospital management wants her to buy a night dress and that she will like the blue color. She does not have the courage to tell me that she will need more than one beautiful and fashionable night dress. She does not bother about the flowers and the cars again, but to get well and go home. She takes her mind out of this and sleeps. 2 days later, the blue night dress arrives. She does not bother herself to show it around the world as planned because it is only one and it is not beautiful. She now learns to keep to herself to avoid talking about herself to others. As Christmas draws nearer, the women in the world are anxious to be home before Christmas. The women start leaving for home. The sleek lady also leaves the world for another world. While leaving, she wishes Ada the soonest recovery. Ada likes the woman so much that she wishes to have her address. She just thank her and wish her luck. The woman dies a few days afterwards, and nobody knows the cause of her death. Ada is ready to go home. She has to undergo a tradition of dressing the baby in new clothes and a shawl. The baby is then shown around the world for the comments about the smartness of the baby. Like other mothers also, she has to dress to conceive any sign of protruding in her stomach. She is to dress simply as if nothing happens, that they are still youthful, instead of Ada dressing in a suit or any tight dress. She resolved to put on her Igbo lapa, which will cover it all for her. She asked Francis to bring the one with Nigeria independence 1960. This will even show that she is from Nigeria and that it is an independent country. Ada's problem is the baby's clothes. His problem now is the baby's clothes. This reminds her of the time she gave birth to Fiki in Nigeria, when the Americans ordered the baby's clothes from Washington. She is to use the same set of clothes now, which are already faded, especially the shawl. Many thoughts come to her mind, whether to disappear from the world without being seen by the other women or tell the nurse not to show her around the world. If you are asked questions to compare Ada's life in Nigeria with that of the UK, we have good points here. At the time she gave birth to Fiki in Nigeria, she was well cared for than when she's out in the UK. She did not even tell Francis about the baby's dress because she knows there will be no positive response from him. He will tell her that a shawl is a shawl. Ada even goes to the extent of envying the sleek lady that died. She wishes she had died to escape this. Francis later comes with Ada's slapper and she ties it around herself in the hospital corridor where she dresses. She refuses to go back to the ward, watching the nurse from there taking boo-boo around the ward. It is Francis that follows the nurse, listening to the talks and comments. On their way home in a taxi, she ponders whether the nurse taking the baby around the world and the women admiring the baby were sincere in their admiring boo-boo. If that's so, she now feels guilty about not saying goodbye to them. It is now too late to go back tomorrow and do that because some will have left for their homes and there will be new faces also. She then concludes that she will never let such a thing happen to her again and that no matter the situation, one needs to appreciate it. For the 13 days she has been in the hospital, she has learned a lot that will change her for the better. The taxi drops them in front of their house on Willis Road. So that's the end of this chapter. So we are able to share the experience of Ada in the hospital and how she feels in the hospital and how she feels about Francis, a comparison of Francis with other men, especially the husband of the woman that came to the hospital. So let's meet in the next chapter. If you are just joining this channel, you can subscribe by hitting the subscription button so that whenever any of my videos are released, you'll be notified. Whenever I release any video, you'll be notified. Thank you.